And welcome to In-Game Chat for Saturday, January 25th, 2014. This is Season 8, Episode 4. I'm Scott.
I'm Dennis.
And I'm RJ.
And welcome to the show. If you'd like to get in touch with us, our phone lines are open. 334-272-9228. That number again is 334-272-9228. Check out ingamechat.net for all the links to get in touch with us. You can find us on Twitter at InGameChat. You can find us on Facebook at InGameChat. You can email us, everyone, at ingamechat.net. And we are streaming the cam feed right now through twitch.tv, and you can find us there and join us in the chat room live while we broadcast. Hello to everybody in the chat room that I can't tell. I'll give the names of the people who've spoken so far, but the viewer list isn't coming up for me to tell me who's in there, but Lavos is in there, Multile, and we've also got all three of us in the chat room and Nabokov fan as well. So if you're in the chat room, speak up so we know that you're there. If you're not in the chat room, why not head over to twitch.tv and join in the conversation. Or give us a call, 334-272-9228. We're going to go over some of the games we played. I will start. Nothing. That's not true. Actually, I keep forgetting that this past week, I think it was actually, when was it? I think it was Tuesday. Tuesday night, I finally finished up a very old game. When we want to talk about backlogs, this is a game I still have a box copy of.
Oh, wow.
That I bought. I don't remember when I bought it. I'm not playing the box copy. I'm playing the Steam version that I picked up on sale. But it is a game from Microids, I believe, is the developer, maybe publisher, and it's called Still Life. The Adventure Company is one of those games that, or one of those people that released it. I guess published it, maybe.
Yeah, same guys that did like Missing and the like.
Missing, Siberia 2. There's a lot of, it's, you know, I had always come to trust the little banner on those boxes that says the Adventure Company. I was like, okay, this is in my ballpark of something I'm going to like. Now, let me see if it, you know, vibes with the type of story that I want, you know, murder mystery type stuff or whatever the case may be. Siberia had, the reason I was drawn to it just was the location that it was in, and some of the artwork was just really beautiful. I didn't know anything about the story. Still Life drew me in because it was a mystery type thing. Missing drew me in because it was a mystery thing, but it incorporated some ARG elements.
Yeah, it was kind of a little bit of an ARG because it would use your email account, and you have to do searches on the web, which I got it a couple months after release, so all my searches just pointed to like, oh, here's the solution for in Missing since January.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like,
That's kind of the reason that another box copy of a game that I haven't opened up is it's called Evidence, which is the sequel to Missing.
Yeah, I heard about that. Did it ever get a release here? Or was
Yeah.
It? Okay.
Yeah. It was odd because it was in this.
No, that's right, because I remember you brought up here one point.
It came in an evidence bag.
Yeah.
The strange part about that was that it was on store shelves in an evidence bag, in a bag, and so when you went to the checkout, when you went to the register to buy it, they had to look that over. They're like, oh, is this they thought it was a refurbed or returned, or, you know, they couldn't make. I was like, no, this is how it is. So yeah, it was. I still haven't opened that. And I'm kind of in the same boat that you are, that I know that when I do and when I try to find help or when I try to go to some of these websites.
Yeah, when you do like the web search for like, oh, you need to search for this on the web here.
Also, I'm kind of curious if some of those websites still exist that they would direct you to, because it's been a while.
I remember reading something a while back. I don't know if this is even true, but supposedly they like upgraded Missing so that it would like kind of use its own internal browser rather than you having to go out on the internet. But I don't know. I don't even know if that's true. It's just one of those like little things that bounce around the back of my head about games I've played.
Yeah. Well, I finished up Still Life. Got done with that. Holy cow, are there some tough puzzles in there? There are some extremely mind-numbing puzzles. There is one that's not even a puzzle. It's a skill type challenge. You have to. You're in the police station and you're trying to get to one of their security server room type things, and there's laser detector beams and all this other stuff that you have to you crawl through. Except you can't crawl through yourself. You have to send like this little spider bot thing that crawls through, and it crawls along walls and it moves and that sort of thing. You don't get controls with a controller. You're getting controls with clicking, pointing, clicking, basically. So you have to hit the red button. That dispenses one of these spider bots. Then you have to press the left motion control arrow on the board that's on the screen to make it go into the air vent.
Okay.
It takes it into the next room. So you get in the room, then you go through the laser stuff. And you've really got to time it because the way this thing moves and the way the lasers are moving, it's all kind of strange and it's all based on timing.
Okay.
And when you don't make it, Spider-Bot blows up, and then you have to hit the red button again, it dispenses, and you have to hit left and watch the animation for it to go through, and you have to do this over and over and over again. It was ridiculous. I hated it. I really hated it. This is one of those things where...
So, like, the only saving grace was you didn't have to sit through, like, a continue, retry, or, like, load your save game.
No, you didn't have to do that. It just, there is no death in that game. So there was no problem with that. That was never going to happen. It's just completion of puzzles and tasks. You know, that's it. You just have to, there is no death. There is only stuck. You know, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do next.
Nothing like where if you didn't pick up this item at the beginning of the game, you can't progress past the
No. Never anything like that. Most really good adventure games won't do that to you.
No, there were good adventure games to you. It's just they were good for the time.
What games?
Anything by Infocom?
Really?
The
like
old
what?
text adventure games? Zork?
I'm
I'm talking about the old stuff.
That's a possibility, yes.
Yeah, all of those had something where, like, if you didn't get this item that was in your room at the beginning and carry it to the end of the game, nope, no ending for you.
Wow.
Just feel free to restart and try it again the right way.
No, I don't ever want to go through that. But anyway, that was a problem. And then there was one that was a lockpick that I had terrible amounts of trouble with, and finally looked up how to do it, and I was way off on how to fix it and how to complete that thing. After it was done, I was like, how was I ever going to? You ever done that before on some puzzles where you look up to what the solution is, and you're like, I could have sat here all day, and I just would have never figured this out.
Never would try that. Is it like a lockpick puzzle, kind of like in like Morrowind or Oblivion, where you have to like hit tumblers and stuff?
You're asking the wrong guy.
Okay.
I haven't played Morrowind or Oblivion.
Okay.
In fact, as far as I got on Oblivion for 360, I never left the dungeon.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was like, no, not for me. This just isn't. It's not at my alley. So no, never did. So I'm not sure. You had to. Yes, it involved tumblers.
Okay.
It involved you having two tools, one to hold one tumbler, the other one to hold the other, and they had to lock in place. And one tumbler could move one that was, one of the first tumblers would move one of the last tumblers if you moved it out of the way, would lock into place and all this other stuff. It was very.
But then you hit this one, it's like, oh, that one falls back down.
Yeah, there was a horrible order that you had to go in to make this happen. But I was okay with that because you know what? I can look up online how to do that, and I can do it and get through it if that's the case. It doesn't get in my way. This other one, the Spider-Bot thing, there was no, here's the path you have to take. There is, but you had to...
You have to be precise on...
You have to be very precise on getting it done. Yeah. And so, oh, man. Anyway, got through that, got it finished, watched the credits. There is a sequel for the game. If you look at the Steam page for the sequel, it's got a bunch of thumbs down from players. If you look at Still Life, the first one on the Steam page, it's got a bunch of thumbs up. It does... Well, I'm not going to say how it ends, but it feels like I should play the sequel, and I don't really want to because I saw all the thumbs down on it. I kind of want to just leave it as is. But anyway, as I was watching the credits, Tom Salta was a name that came up who did the music for the game, and he's a guy that we had on the show back when we did our music episode, which we should do another one of those this year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we'll do another one. I'm looking at maybe doing 2 a year. I think we should probably do. I don't know. We'll talk about it, figure it out from there. So anyway... That's what I played to spend 15 minutes talking about absolutely nothing. This is how talk shows can go.
This is the way it goes, man. We're a show about video games. We will talk about video games.
We will.
That's right.
Talk in depth. And if you want to talk about your games, call us 334-272-9228. Over to RJ. Mm-hmm. What have you played?
I've been playing a lot of Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown lately.
You've got a tournament, yeah.
Yeah, in preparation for Final Round 17 this year. It's going to be mid-March. The site is at... finalround.org if you want to get some information on that. One of the biggest tournaments in the U.S.
Takes place where? Atlanta,
Georgia.
Mm-hmm. Now, are you doing a day trip up there? What's the deal?
Probably going to do a Thursday night trip up there, stay overnight, get there.
Is it a group of you guys going, or
Group
what?
of us is going.
Okay, are a group of you in the tournament, or is it you just
group of
getting
us in the
more?
tournament.
Okay,
Pretty much everyone in the group is in the tournament in some kind of way.
wow.
Playing some type of game there.
We need to get We need to get those guys' names. We need to get you guys on the show
Okay.
to talk about the tournament. Just before you guys go up there, talk about what what do you expect, how these things go. This, you do these a lot, and we only ever get the hey, how'd it go type situation. I'd like to get some more in depth on tournament play. We don't get that around here. And like you said, you got to go to Atlanta to do it.
Yeah, I think there was like one thing like a year ago at the Renaissance, wasn't it?
Yeah, GT South, a local establishment here, had one where they had a local tournament. They had it at the Renaissance Hotel, and a lot of folks showed up for that. They had, I think, a Halo, some military shooters, and a lot of fighting games up there. Had a pretty good turnout, and we was hoping to do it another year, but they opened their establishment and they started having them there locally from that point on.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a desire for tournaments in here, but like I said, the big ones aren't going to be here. It's too small. Montgomery's too small, so
Right.
they have it in Atlanta, bigger cities, Huntsville, Birmingham.
Now, does this one in Atlanta, does it lead to something else? Like if you win in this one, you get moved to another tournament, or is this like its own thing?
I believe they're offering points for the TNC tournament in North Carolina. If you get like first place 10 points, second place 8 points, things of that nature, and it leads up to free spots in.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that kind of like here's the qualifying thing?
Yeah, it's like a qualifier. You get into like a bigger tournaments. You don't have to go through pool play, like play all the folks in the general pop to do it. And
basically
they
gets
just
you
go on.
a free pass in.
Yeah,
Essentially.
yeah. You don't have to go through some things like that.
Because
You
I
get a big
remember
one.
I remember having seen some of that stuff back when I played Magic the Gathering like years and years ago when they were just starting up tournaments. It was something similar to that going on right before I got out of that.
You got out of it.
Yeah.
But it
Cards,
worked.
man, they're expensive.
Yeah, but that's what the thing is. I've been practicing for that. Right now, I'm trying to get into 3 games: Street Fighter 4, AE, Soul Calibur 5, and they had a side tournament they announced for Virtua Fighter. Hence, I've been practicing it most this week.
So Virtua Fighter, is that just Virtua Fighter, or is it Virtua Fighter?
Virtua Fighter 5 Final
5.
Showdown, the most recent one. That's the one. They had a little side.
The most
tournament
recent
going
one
on.
being how long ago?
Recent tournament or the recent incarnation of the game?
Most recent incarnation of Virtua Fighter 5, whatever, the one you're playing. How long ago was that released?
Maybe about a year and a half.
Oh, really?
Yeah, been
Still
a while.
doing
It's been a
Virtua
while.
Fighters then, huh? I had not paid any attention. This is why you're here, man. Because I haven't been paying attention to these sort of things, so I didn't.
Yeah, it's not your genre. You said it before. It's just,
no,
it's
it's
just
not.
in your genre.
You know, the only as far as fighting's concerned, the only ones I pay attention to are really the ones that get the the big stuff: Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
really.
Twitch
I mean,
feeds.
Killer Instinct obviously brought back into it, but they hadn't been much said about that since its release. So,
I don't think I heard much about those sudden internet checks and seeing if it's your copy or whatnot, seeing if it's your system.
real quick, Nabokov had asked if I'd ever played the Saw game. Totally interested in it, man. But I looked it up and I looked up some reviews and stuff like that, and I wasn't that interested after
enough negative in there to be
it
like
seemed to be. But you know what? If it hits a Steam sale that's pretty low, and I think it has been, I may actually own it. I will. That's what happens when you have Steam libraries.
Oh, this library's so hard to scroll through.
I may own that. I may look that up and look into that. There was one that went on sale this week that I should have picked up called The Raven. Master Thief, Tales of a Master Thief, or something like that. I'm not sure. It was a daily sale on Steam, and I saw a bunch of people pick it up, and I actually noticed it afterwards because I was going through my activity page, and all these people had bought this game, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, it must have been a daily deal, which it was. Before we get to Dennis, let's go to the phones here. I believe Abdul is on the line. Abdul, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, man, where are you calling from?
From Texas.
Texas. We got a listener in Texas. What's up? What do you want to talk about?
Yes, I just wanted to get your opinion on the whole resolution gate thing with a lot of the games that are supposed to come out later this year, like Watch Dogs. There's this rumor that it's going to be 1080p for PS4, but then it's going to possibly be down to 720 or 990 for Xbox One, and this seems to be like a recurring issue. Everyone seems to be pointing this thing out. What do you guys think?
Well, that's a good thing to point out. Obviously, the resolution situation is something that has come up with the new systems, and PS4 seems to be taking the lead as far as having the higher resolution and at times apparently the higher frame rate. The most recent that we can point to on this is Tomb Raider Definitive Edition that was just released. The PS4 is getting 1080p 60 frames a second, and the Xbox One is getting 30 frames per second at 720. Is that correct?
I think so. That's just astounding. It's like, is it just? It's not something I know much about. Is it just the GPUs? Is that much of a difference?
I want to say it's the RAM and the GPUs.
Okay.
But you know what? This is when James and Jeremy would be better on these questions.
Yeah,
for
because they know the technical side far better than us.
And Nabokov says in the chat room it's hardware limited. Hardware limited, and there's no way to avoid it. That seems to be the case, and this is what you're seeing a lot now. You'll see Microsoft tell you that, hey, in fact, their statement towards Tomb Raider was, hey, it's still early in the release of the machines. People are still feeling them out. It's still great. 720 at whatever is fine. That's not a problem, and they're going to do that, and that is okay. Really, honestly, if all you've got is an Xbox One, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's by anybody who's in the know.
Let me ask you, Abdul, do you have both systems or just one?
I'm actually still kind of waiting to decide because I'm probably going to get a PS4, but there aren't any must-have games. Maybe Ground Zeroes will change that later this, maybe thinking about a month or so. It should be coming out. But like you said, Microsoft, a lot of fanboys I would have kind of say, they try to make the argument, well, it's not about the resolution, it's about the gameplay. But why has it never been about graphics when it comes to
no kidding
console, right?
Exactly. We've said that before, and we've said that whenever we've heard this from like the talking heads saying, hey, come on, man, gameplay should be the thing. It's all about consoles are selling fine, things are great, it's all peachy keen. Can we not look at these details?
Yeah, and then your buddy hooks up the other system to the TV and you're like, oh,
wow, that's really pretty.
Man, I wish I had that.
Wait a second, you're playing the same game I'm playing, but yours is really pretty. Mm-hmm. And these are the brand new systems, right? So this one wasn't released a year later. They were released at the same time. Things should be good.
Yeah, shouldn't there be some kind of parity here?
Yeah, there isn't.
And and I think that just as prediction.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think that's the question. Like, no one's really asking is what caused Microsoft to go like that way in terms of the lower hardware specs. Do you think it was because they had to turn around their whole game plan with the pullback after E3 and having to maybe kind of rush things out? Because I don't see what
no, I don't. I actually don't think it had anything to do with their reversal on any kind of issues. I think it has to do with the hardware that they chose for the machine to do what it was going to do. They have basically 3 operating systems running on an Xbox One, and that takes a lot of work to be running 3 operating systems at the same time on the Xbox One. Now, by the way, at any time that I'm talking about this, I could say something completely wrong. I want to put this up front that I'm going to try and not say anything if I don't know completely about it, or at least preface that by saying, I'm not sure, but and so just take that with everything I say because I'm pulling this off of memory, and I could be wrong on some of these responses. The Xbox One was built to be an all-in-one system. It was built to do this one thing. It was built to do
video games, TV,
games, TV, like tons of stuff. And it was built in the sense that you could switch on the fly between all of these things and not have any weights or any type of hindrance in performance or anything like that. So the RAM that they chose to go with it, the processor speeds and everything else that they went was serving that purpose. So all of this stuff is split up in order to cover all of these grounds, whereas the PS4 is only sitting there to do the one thing.
Yeah,
it's only
one thing at a time. Only run this game.
Yeah, really. I mean, it's got background. It's got what am I trying to say? App switching, I guess, is a good way to put it. It's got multitasking.
Yeah,
it's got some multitasking going on, but it's not at the level of what the Xbox One is doing. And the hardware that they chose for that, for the Xbox One, is what is the reason that you're seeing these limits. It's the reason you're seeing these problems. It really had nothing to do with their.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't have had time to do a complete hardware respec during the entire period where they had unveiled it and then did their various reversals.
Everything that they reversed had nothing to do with any kind of internals of the system. It had nothing to do with any kind of hardware issues. All of this was set in place the moment you saw it revealed back in May when it was all TV, sports TV, game, TV. So I'm not kidding. The one game they showed was COD. That was it.
Yeah.
Everything else was TV. So Everything that was put into that machine that we saw revealed is the same stuff that's in there today. It's the exact same thing. They just did reversals on how they were going to operate as far as DRM, all digital, no rentals, all this sort of stuff. They flipped the switch on that. But
which you needed a patch for. It wasn't something they could just take out. They were always set up to have the hardware spec'd out for that.
Yeah.
And then they had to patch it. So, okay, now you can do all this.
So, yeah, as far as resolution gate is concerned, it is a thing, and you're going to see more of it. Unfortunately,
it's going to get worse the more time that passes.
yeah, it is. And what you're going to hear, and from what I can guess, this is me speculating only based on what we've heard so far, is that every time the PS3 can do 1080 and the Xbox One can only do 720 on the same game, you're going to hear about it. If the PS4, I say the PS3, I meant the PS4. If the PS4 does 720 and the Xbox One does 720, no big deal. But if one outperforms the other, that's the only time you're ever going to hear about it. If they're both running at 1080p, which I think the Xbox One has some titles that can.
Yeah, but
I can't tell you what those are, but I think that they do. That you really won't hear anything about it. It's only when one performs better than the other that you're going to start hearing things about it. And I'm afraid that's going to come up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
So
scared
do
that
you
it's
think
going to come up a lot.
So do you guys think it's pretty safe to say that graphics-wise, the Xbox One is DOA for like this generation, short of them releasing new hardware or new specs, which I doubt because you can't really change a spec for a console. But like, there's nothing more they can do. You can't download more RAM. You can't download a better graphics card. So they're kind of stuck for this generation, right?
They are. You're absolutely right. They are stuck with whatever's in that machine. Both systems are stuck
Yeah.
with what's in that machine. There is no magic patch that can be downloaded or any kind of add-on that can be put onto this thing to make it.
Any kind of hardware respec would possibly break any of the games that are released right now, just because they're meant to run on this particular hardware.
So I mean, they're both stuck into whatever they've done. And again, I look at it and say that if you've only got one, if you really want your PlayStation 4, go get your PlayStation 4 and be happy that you have it, really, because it's a great system. Guess what? The Xbox One, it's actually a great system for what it does. In fact, I have my Xbox One on more than I have my PS4, only because I'm running my TV through it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you now, it's a hell of a thing to walk into a room and be like, Xbox on. And it comes on, it show that to people, and it comes on, and then Xbox mute, volume up, volume down, to do all these different things. It's really, really cool, and it's a nice
party trick.
I hate to say it's a nice gimmick, but it's a nice gimmick. However, the games, that's something I need to do. I need to play some games on the Xbox One. I have not, actually, other than Peggle 2, I think I've loaded up. That's about the only one that I played, and I've only played like a couple of levels of that because I was like, hey, here's Peggle again. So I've got Rise, I've got Forza, I've got Dead Rising 3, and I really need to fire those things up and play them and kind of look at those things and say, hey, 720p really getting in, is this really affecting me? Or am I just enjoying what I'm playing and it's not noticeable? I can't say that yet. I don't want to say that one is superior than the other. On paper and specs, it looks to be the case that the PS4 is superior than the Xbox One.
So.
But that's papers and specs, man. I can put The Last of Us against a couple of games this recent generation and tell you that this looks better than that on both the PS4 and the Xbox One, because I saw some video of Last of Us and a couple of other games from last gen that I was just like, man, that is really good looking. That really looks good. So anyway, that's our thoughts on it. Really wish James or Jeremy was here for this.
Yeah, because they'd be able to pull out.
They'd have tore into some specs for you, man, and really given you some a rundown of this stuff. So, but I appreciate you calling.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
If you would like to call us, you can 334-272-9228. Real quick, we're going to go to Dennis. What have you been playing?
Not much. Just most been playing more Binding of Isaac, which is my favorite adventure / roguelike of choice. Just a nice little 30-minute distraction. And also been playing through Lords of Shadow 1, Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
Well, that gives me the red face. That just makes me angry. I want to go back to it because I think
it is, because I played it on the 360 like when it first came out, and then I picked up the Steam version not too long ago. And when you were playing it, because when you streamed this over Twitch, I was watching, I was like looking at this like he's getting angry at all the exact places I got angry when I first played.
Well, that's good. I'm glad. I'm glad that I wasn't some outlier of this, or that that I was focusing my anger on the wrong parts. I'm glad that it was all legitimate.
It was all legitimate, and man, it gets better once you get past that Colossus you were fighting.
I heard that from you, and I heard that from a couple other people in the chat room as I was playing Castlevania Lords of Shadow. It's
got a lot of flaws.
It's God of War with vampires. It's it's a hack and slash, but it's in the Castlevania universe.
It's its own thing. It's separate from like the main Castlevania timeline, continuity, whatever you want to call it. It's it is just worth playing. It is worth getting through the parts that are just terrible for the good stuff.
It better be. That's a hard thing to say. That's something we should never say about a game, honestly. God, if you can get through that first level, that opening introductory level, the thing that should set the tone for the rest of the game, if you can get through that is so horrible, it's smooth sailing from there on out.
And
really shouldn't be.
I hate saying it.
Then again, at the same chance, it shouldn't be. Boy, I put in all this effort and time, only to get to that level that is just horribly, horribly designed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of, rocking a hard place type situation. Whereas it shouldn't be at the front, but it also shouldn't be at the very end, as some games do.
Game balance. It's hard to.
It is.
Make it all that work. Make it difficult enough where it's like enjoyable when you overcome something, and then or it's just too easy.
Yeah, I just hate that. I hate that happened because again, I played the sequel, a bit of it, at E3. Had nobody around me playing this thing. In fact, there were a bunch of kiosks set up, and they're like, "Oh, are you here for Konami?" I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Well, do you want to play FIFA?" No. Do you want to go play? Lords of Shadow 2, and I was like, sure, I'll go play that. I never touched the first one. Let's go see this. And I played it, and I was like, I got to check that first one out.
Yeah, and
it's great. And then I check it out, and what happens?
I think it was their first game, essentially, the Mercury Steam, I believe it is. I think that was their first game. They did this one. They did a 3DS title in the Lords of Shadowverse universe, whatever. And then Lords of Shadow 2, and I don't think they've done anything else that I can think of off the top of my head. Yeah. This is literally just a team put together just for this particular little bit of this little slice of Castlevania.
Yeah. Anything else have you played?
Not really. It's been a kind of busy week for me. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to take a break, and then when we come back, goodness, we haven't even jumped into the other stories that we had on our list. We got the whole YouTube Machinima Xbox One situation, paying for good things, and what is it, XB XB1 M13 or something like that.
Yes,
sure.
the Xbox One is the best thing ever. I don't have one, but it's great.
It's a wonderful
I would never
system.
say anything bad about it.
Yeah, I guess that was a great time to bring that up with Abdul about the. Being like, man, Xbox One's awesome. You're not sure which one you want to get. You got to go Xbox One. It's great.
Yeah, man. It's
XB1 M13. Send me money. Yeah, so we got that. We've got the whole Candy Crush situation with the
Candy trademark, Crush Saga trademark,
Banner Saga trademark. Anyway, a lot of that coming up, and of course your opinions 334-272-9228. We will be back with more in-game chat right after this. Here's some music from Portal 2. And welcome back to In-Game Chat. Music from Katamari. Self-explanatory right there, so hopefully you got that one. We were just going over, I've got, I don't know how many, you gave me a bunch of tracks. I've got like 20 tracks to put in for our music bumpers there, and we were just talking about, this one has a label in front of it that says EVAV from when we were EVAV Radio.
Back in the day.
Way back in the day, so I'm thinking of like, hey, I need to flush some of this stuff out and put in the new stuff and that sort of stuff that we've gotten. And when I say new stuff, I don't necessarily mean it's from newer games. I just mean it's new music for us.
Just different.
Yes. And then that one played, and I thought, man, I can't get rid of.
Nope, we need to keep Katamari down.
Can't get rid of that. Yeah. Anyway, welcome back to the show. I still can't tell who's in the chat room. The viewer list is still not refreshing and letting me know who's in there. So we've had some other names show up. Zufu is in there. Medusa's Mirror showed up, and who's the other one? Nate T92 is also in the chat room. We know they're in there because they're talking to us in the chat room, and if you'd like to let your presence be known, head on over to twitch.tv, go to In-Game Chat, and you can find our channel there. You can watch us, listen to us, and you can join us in the chat room, or you can give us a call if you'd like, 334-272-9228. Moving on into some of the things we were going to talk about that we didn't even get to this last segment was I like how you put the little trademarks in front of this. Interesting. We have our show notes up, and Dennis, who does a fantastic job, you weren't even supposed to be here this week, were you?
No, I wasn't. I was originally going to work and managed to get the night off. But yeah, I always put together the show notes in.
You do a great job. I mean, we throw these in there, but you compile and organize and make them look really nice. And he put Candy Crush, trademark, Crush Saga, trademark.
And it took me a few minutes to try to find the alt code you need to put in a trademark symbol.
Well,
but it was worth it, just for that laugh.
What happened, this has been a thing that's just kind of evolved throughout the week. It's interesting how a lot of stories like this do. In fact, our other situation with the Machinima thing, like something new came along after the initial story came out. The next day there was a new aspect of it. The next day there was a new aspect. And the same thing with this Candy Crush all the way up until yesterday or today. It was yesterday with the Candy Jam?
Yeah, Candy Jam was like, I think Wednesday or so, actually. The last thing I remember was, well, we'll get into that.
Yeah, we should start at the beginning of this, and that is the thing that Candy Crush Saga. And I'm only adding Saga in there because as of today, I found out that
that's the actual name.
That's the actual name. I always thought it was just called Candy Crush because anybody ever mentioned it, it's always, have you playing Candy Crush? I play Candy Crush. This is what they never say Saga at the end of it.
How about advertisements? I've never seen it in advertisements either. Have you?
I don't know I don't know what that.
I mean, I see it on apps all the time. Advertising candy. I've never seen Saga in any of the advertisements. It always says Candy Crush. And like you said, everybody who talks about it says Candy Crush. Saga never comes up.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never played the game. I'm not sure I've even seen a screenshot of what this thing looks like. But apparently it's really big.
It's big. It's a free-to-play game, if I remember correctly. And it is...
it's an app. Is it an app game?
It is an app game.
Okay,
yes,
so it's not something I can go to Steam and buy and play or something I can pick up in a store, the physical brick-and-mortar store. This is
just something you pick up on your iPhone.
This is
it's similar to games like Farmville, like where if you want to progress, you got to give us X amount of our premium currency, which you can buy for X amount of dollars.
It's digital crack, basically.
Yeah. But
and the name of the company that makes it or publishes it is called King?
Yes, just King.
Correct? Just King.
No, like King Technologies, just King. They seem to have a thing for using just one word and keeping it to
or at least
themselves.
trying to trademark that one word.
Yeah.
So they filed a trademark for the word candy.
Yes, filed a trademark for the word candy with the U.S. Trademark Office.
They had already done this in the Europe.
Yeah, they do have it in the European Union, if I remember correctly.
So candy is trademarked in the European Union, correct?
Yes. So basically, anything with games with candy in it, you can't use it without stepping on King's trademark there.
Right, but it's only in the realm of
EU, and they're working on getting it here, and it's only in the realm of like video games and such.
Video games, and I think titling your video games with candy in the title.
Yeah, because they're saying it's like just a lot of clones, people attempting to market themselves.
They're trying to
at the
protect
candy.
they're trying to protect their IP. This is you're going to hear this term a lot in the talking of this and the other story. This is business as usual.
Yeah, it's business. It's not pleasant at all.
We never liked copyright. We talked about DRM. We've talked about copyright when it comes to YouTube and stuff. And here's another situation where we don't like talking about. Oh, it's not that we don't like talking about it. It's just
it just reminds us of.
You hate talking about it because there is no light at the end of that tunnel.
It reminds us there are terrible people who are willing to do this kind of thing to other people.
Yeah, so they're not letting companies title their game with candy in there, and they're also going after people who already have the title candy in their game. So that happened earlier this week, and then there was word that they were also trying to trademark the word saga.
Yes, they're trying to trademark saga. They did apply with the trademark office. It was suspended back in December of 2013. But
that's not stopped them.
They a game that recently just released on Steam like a week or two ago.
Yeah, here's an interesting thing. The Banner Saga.
The Banner Saga.
And I really want to play this game. That game looks beautiful. The artwork, the art style. This is Banner Saga. Look it up on Google if you want to. It has a very Don Bluthian aspect to some of the art. Has a very what was that guy's name?
Bakshi?
Yes. From the old Hobbit.
Yeah, from the old Return of the King and the like.
Mm-hmm.
Animated
Frodo
movie. Nine Fingers.
Exactly. And this is just from the promotional stuff and the screenshots that I've seen. It looks like that. I actually haven't played the game, so I'm not sure how that's incorporated, but I'm a sucker for that kind of art.
Yeah. And it was a independent studio. They did a Kickstarter for it.
They did a Kickstarter for it. I actually reached out to them on Monday to be on our show for an interview. And not this week or what. I was just like, hey, I'd like to interview the guys at Stoic.
I'll say because they're
developer.
Pretty busy with this right now.
Well, that was the thing. This was before that this was before that came to light.
Oh, this
anyway.
was before the.
This was before I was interviewing. I wanted to interview them because their game released. A lot of people were talking about it. It looked really great, and I wanted to talk about that. And then I want to say it was the very next day when it was like, okay, now they're going after Banner Saga.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, wow, I've got another aspect. If they do this interview, I've got something else to talk about. But I got the response from their PR team saying, hey, they're really busy with a legal issue right now and can't do an interview. And I thought, oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
I really didn't want to talk about the legal stuff, but that's apparently where you're at now. So King is trying to keep them... The way the stories came out was that originally they were trying to shut down Banner Saga, keep them from using the name. King responded and said, no, they can use Saga. That's fine. For Banner Saga, for the game that's already released, they were whatever. They were trying to they were trying to have a good face, you know. No, we're fine with that. But on the other end, the guys at Stoic were coming forth and saying, that's not the case.
Yeah.
Sure, they're leaving us alone with Banner Saga, but we're trying to do a sequel. And every time we try to trademark our title, we get pushback from them.
Yeah, so we're not trying to stop them from using the name, but we're trying to stop them from using the name. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. It's just business as usual, like you said.
See,
it's that corporate double speak.
Zufu brings this up. Didn't this happen before with Mojang and Bethesda over the scroll thing?
Yep.
It sure did.
The Scrolls and Elder Scrolls, you can look back at, I don't remember his name, but the Edge gaming guy.
I don't remember his name either.
Tim
Langdell.
Langdell.
Tim Langdell. He trademarked the word edge.
And went after everybody who used the word edge in anything.
Edge Magazine, Mirror's Edge. And eventually that got...
Last year, it was eventually overturned. He was like, no,
you're getting ridiculous with this. So we're going to take that, you're not being responsible with this. We're taking it away from you. And they took that power away. And so King is... at least telling people, hey, everything's fine. We're not trying to stop these people, but we're getting different word from the people that are actually being stopped by this.
Yeah. Stoke is saying, they're keeping us from using it in the sequel, and they are saying, we're not going to stop because of King. We're going to go through, and our game will have the term saga in it regardless.
Then it was brought up that King had made a game loosely based off of somebody else's game.
Yeah, it was they had approached. It was kind of like a Pac-Man clone, is what I
It
heard.
was. It was called Scamper Ghost or something like that.
Yeah,
I can't
Scamper
remember.
Ghost. They had approached the developer of that. It was a Flash game, and they were saying, hey, we want
They
to.
said, we want to cut a deal with you. We want to get your game out there. We want you to be under our umbrella. And the guy was like, no, I don't really want to do that. And so King went ahead and made a clone of that game called Pack-A-Void.
Pack-A-Void, yes.
Yeah. Which is just ridiculous. It's got
Yeah.
the word pack.
And the title
Pack.
screen looks very similar
I
to
know.
the one on Scamper Ghost.
And so they tried to do that. And then that game mysteriously disappeared when this story came up. It disappeared off their website.
Yeah, and the developer came out and said, I've talked to King. The main reason he was trying to get the story back out is because this is what King does. They couldn't get mine, so they made a clone, essentially. And it's, man, business. It's people in the business of making money, and
The lengths they'll go to get it.
Yeah, it's not like a lack of ethics, not quite that strong a word, but just a willingness to not care about others, trying to put out good works.
Well, it's in some ways they have a legitimate point, man. I have seen clones of games on the App Store.
I've seen things on the App Store that have like candy whatever in there.
I've seen confusingly titled cloned games that have a much higher price than the original one, or the same price with different caveats for it. But I mean, as much as you say that it's a shame that there are people out here doing this, trying to keep people from making games to just make their games and make
there
money.
are times when they do have legitimate grievances about it.
Reverse that. It's a shame that there are people out there who
are trying to
will void themselves of any originality whatsoever, take over something, tweak it by one little thing, and by little I mean even the tiniest sometimes.
Yeah, tweak it by one little thing, charge price, add in whatever little bits of malware they want to get all your information, whatever.
Bandwagon jumpers, really. Just let me jump on this Candy Crush hype and milk it for all it's worth that I can. For anybody out there who's confused, and that's a huge thing of people being confused. There's a lot of kids who use this stuff and will just
I want to get that candy game, that Candy Crush game. Oh, Candy Crush Saga? That's not what it's called. It must be this candy game.
Yeah. Nate T92 in the chat room says it is never ending, and you're exactly right.
Yeah.
It is never ending. It just keeps going on and going on. And like I said, getting into copyright talk is always kind of a bummer because there is no, like you said, it's never ending.
There's no good solution. At least none.
There isn't. The law is flawed,
Yeah.
if not broken completely. And again, this is another situation where if Jeremy was here, he would easily go into this for you.
Yep. Copyrights, patents, trademarks. He's the guy who studies on this.
We had a whole show way back. I even think before we were EVAV Radio. We had a whole show that was nothing but copyright law.
Yeah.
In fact, I think Jeremy's cousin, and I can't remember his name, but his cousin was in town. And they brought in a huge book and went over the different copyright laws and aspects of things and why it was flawed, why it was broken, why it needed to be changed, fixed, or eliminated altogether.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, as far as we know, things have not been settled on this. Everything is kind of like in a flux right now.
It's still up in the air at the moment.
Like you said, their trademark on candy in the U.S. is under a 30-day probation period or something right now? Is that correct?
They have 30 days. Anybody can register a complaint with the trademark office regarding it. I'm not sure exactly when that deadline is up. It's just something I've seen in relation to this. Just it's in that probation period.
Yeah.
So I don't have the exact details on if that time's already up or not.
Yeah. So I mean, this is going to be an ongoing situation, an ongoing story that we're going to hear about developments with. This is something that we may be talking about next week as well.
I'm just considering every day there was something new on this. I'm sure we will.
Yeah. So Zufu asks, is copyright law messed up only in the U.S. or in the whole world? I
don't know.
I'm unsure.
We're a bunch of people who live in the U.S., and that's kind of what we focus on. Unfortunately, we're not.
Well, not necessarily, but in the sense of what had gone on with this is that there weren't any disputes in Europe as far as the candy trademark title. This was just coming up for games in the U.S. because there was a lot more. They had a lot more to be gained by trademarking that title here in the States, I think, than they did in Europe, from what I understand. And it really ripped open. I tell you, honestly, I think the whole candy thing has actually settled down. It's now over this whole saga situation and the Banner Saga. But
never mind that there was like a game called Saga. Oh, wait, it was just in Japan back in the 80s, but it says here it's Final Fantasy Legend.
Well, I know other people brought this up. Like, what about Candyland?
Yeah.
What about the board game Candyland? Is that now?
If there's an electronic Candyland, is like Hasbro going to get sued by King? You know, it's like,
I don't know.
Or was it just like, oh, there's a small studio, let's cause some trouble?
More than
I doubt
likely.
I would like to think that's not the conversation that happened, but I don't know.
But as far as the copyright laws in other parts of the world, I am not sure. I don't know. We focus on the ones here in the States because that's usually the ones that come up as being so absurd with some of the issues that happen. So not actually sure about that, but that's a really good question. So don't know. Thanks for bringing that up, Zufu. We'll have to look into that and see what else. Zufu had also said we should hurry up and copyright the words in, game, and chat before they take it away.
Oh, man. Just on game alone, man. Oh.
We might get paid.
As long as they don't just like, well, even if they limit this podcast, I'm sure we could, we could go after some people. Which we wouldn't do because we're not,
Yeah, what? Our big staff of lawyers that we got on hand to go after these people. Boy. No.
Yeah, we got a whole lot of pro bono lawyers for us, Ryan.
Right. We've got nothing. Nothing at all. So anyway, that's the situation with the legal issues with the Candy Crush trademark situation. That's a game I've never played. Have either of you?
No. I've heard it mentioned a couple of times, and that's
I've heard it mentioned when like talking to family over Christmas or something. We're like, they'll talk about. They're like, "Hey, you talk about games a lot, don't you?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, I do. I'm playing this one," and they bring up Candy Crush, and I was like, I don't know that."
It's the same way with the folks at my workplace. They'll have conversations about what level are you? Like level 98. Ooh, I'm at level 131 or something like that.
Is this for Candy Crush?
For Candy Crush, and they just keep going on and on about that.
Huh. As much as it's talked about, I still haven't actually looked it up to see what it is or to even dip my toe into it.
Same here.
People have talked about The Room less than what I've heard about Candy Crush, but I tried that out. People have talked about other games that I've given a go, but every time Candy Crush comes up, man, I just I'm like, I have no.
Well, I mean, as soon as I heard free to play, I was like, you need to have a really good premise to get me into that. Because
I don't necessarily dismiss anything that's free to play.
No, I don't necessarily either. But it's like when it comes to like smart devices and such, like free to play on those, they're usually like, well, you can keep playing, but
let me do a reverse of that and say that a really fun free to play game on my mobile device, on my iPhone or iPad or whatever I'm playing it on, and I think it's on Android too, is it's one of those runners. What are they called? It's not Temple Run.
Oh,
but it's one of those type of situations.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's Rayman from Ubisoft.
Okay.
Rayman Run or something I can't remember what it's called. Just search it. I believe it's free to play. If not, it goes on sale occasionally. But I got a lot of fun out of that. That was actually a lot of fun. There's no leveling up, but yeah, it was really fun to play.
Yeah, usually free to play is like we limit how much you can do in a day, or you can't get past this particular level unless you give us $5 for it or whatnot. That's usually what comes to mind when somebody says free to play, and not all of them.
Nate says, "Don't play it. My girlfriend made me play it, and never will, and I never will again." Zufu says it's bejeweled with candy.
Ah, that explains the addiction then.
Maybe, but I got bored with Bejeweled after a while, man.
I played Bejeweled a little bit, not for any excessive amount of time.
Rayman Jungle Run is the name. Thank you, Nabokov.
Okay.
No, it's odd. I had mentioned I played Peggle too on the Xbox One. When I played Peggle originally, I thought this is the best thing in the world. I love this. This is my favorite game from This is Plinko, and I love Plinko. And this is wonderful. This is a great game. I wish there was more of this. And then they gave me more of it years and years later, but they gave me more of it, and I've only played like a level. And for whatever reason, my taste in it just it's more Peggle. I've sort of
It's a bad thing, but it's like it's been a couple of years.
Hey, about Bejeweled, I think I seen a screenshot of it. Does it play anything like Columns?
What? Bejeweled?
Bejeweled.
No, I know Columns,
Yeah, I
man.
play
That's the old
Columns.
Genesis game.
I still play that. I mean, I still got it. It still works, and I still play it every now and then. But
I think that's close.
It's close.
I think
That's
it may be
close thing to
close
it?
to that.
I haven't played Columns, so I won't know for sure.
Columns involve jewels lining up 3 in a row and then disappearing.
Okay, then
Vertical,
yes,
yeah.
that's Bejeweled.
yeah, vertical, horizontal, or even diagonally. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, we should try to find those Columns guys. See if they'll go after
Before
Candy
Bejeweled,
Croissant.
there was Columns.
God, I
So-
remember, and I think I remember seeing Bejeweled and thinking, "Oh, this is Columns," but that was years and years and years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
it
I
was.
remember Columns. I think I own Columns on Steam in one of those big Sega packs that they have. So anyway, enough about that. Rayman Jungle Run is the name. Swap Peanut's talking about it. He says it's $2.99 when he paid for it. He's not sure. It was $2.99 when it came out, but he's not sure about what it is now. I think it's cheaper than that, but that was one of the fun ones. That was a real fun one, and probably one of the only ones I put effort into. Only one I downloaded because I was like, okay, it's rare that I got something this good off of an App Store purchase at that price.
Yeah, I've played like a couple of the Temple Run games.
Probably
but
nothing
not-
else out there that can compete to this, and so I'm not much of an app player. So another good one that I think is free to play is and now I'm forgetting what it is. Man, it's on the Vita.
There's a lot of stuff on the Vita.
I know. It's like
Any details you can
I'm
remember?
about to give you a name that I'm making up, but somebody will know what I'm talking about. It's like Johnny Jetpack Joyride.
Jetpack Joyride. Yeah.
Yes.
I have not played that. I've got it on my PS Plus, but I haven't actually tried it out yet. But it is worth your while.
I liked it. I haven't put any money into it. I am not a guy that does that. I don't put money into my free to plays.
Yeah, I'm about the same way. Those are ones I'm fine with. The ones where you don't have to put money in to get some kind of enjoyment out of it. It's when it's a nice little bonus that you can be like, oh, let me get ahead a little bit. That's fine. But when it's like, well, you can't even do anything in this game until you give me $3, like, no.
Well, we're going to take our break. We're going to come back for the second hour of the show. Zufu has a question for RJ. We will get to that in the second hour. We'll talk about machinima and YouTube and paying for good things to be said, but don't tell people that you're getting paid to say good things about it. We'll get into more of that coming up in our second hour of In-Game Chat. We will be right back. Here's music from Braid. And welcome back to In-Game Chat for our second hour. That is music from Kane and Lynch. I believe Jesper Kyd is the composer of that. In fact, way back when, I don't know what year this was, but we actually interviewed him specifically for that soundtrack, but we talked about his other work. This was before Assassin's Creed 2, which I would love to talk to him about the composition for that, but anyway, there's a track we're probably going to flush out of the system, make way for new stuff to come into. It's just not memorable.
Well,
man.
when all of us are sitting here being like, what's this from? What is this?
And it doesn't have to be memorable, I suppose, but You're right. It's one of those. It's like I don't know.
Well,
if
it's not
wrong.
like I have, remember Katamari Damacy all the time, but it's like I hear it and it's like, oh yeah, I know that song.
Yeah. Welcome back to the second hour of in-game chat. Looking over at the chat room again. I don't know who is in there because the viewer list is not refreshing enough to let me know who is in. But I can see that Suave Peanut Ryan has joined us, and also, and I hope I say this right, Atapachar.
Sure.
We'll
Close
go with
enough.
that one. Atapachar is in the chat room as well. Welcome everybody who is in the chat room. If you'd like to join them, you can just head over to ingamechat.net. Go over to the left side of the page, the upper left side. You'll see all the links that you can use to get in touch with us and interact with us. Our Twitter handle, our Facebook page, Google Plus, our he says with a chuckle, our YouTube page, and of course where we're broadcasting the show, or at least streaming the show right now over the internet with, is twitch.tv. And you can head over there, check it out. Join in the chat room, make up a name there, and join in the conversation. I don't know what they're talking about in there. Nab's playing AC3. Oh, if James were here.
Rage.
I know. There was a question that Zufu asked you, RJ. How do you think VR gaming will change fighting games, if at all?
I'm not sure if VR gaming is going to change the current format of a 2D and 3D fighter right now. The closest thing I could think about is the first-person experience, similar to the motion detector type games like Police 911. I think Konami made that years ago.
Yeah,
or a boxing title.
I remember like an old, I think it was like on the Genesis or something. There was like a little thing you could set on the floor
Yeah,
that would interact with you, breaking the infrared light that came out
breaking
of it.
infrared light. Yeah, basically you have like a head. I'm thinking the way it would be was like a headset on or something, and you would like first person like motions of your head, like to avoid. Just going off the top of my head, it's like avoiding attacks. You would bob your head left and right, or throw your hand out or something like that, or move something to initiate an attack or defend, things of that nature. But in terms of affecting the traditional 2D, 3D fighting scene, I'm not sure if VR type of gaming will affect it in any way.
Yeah, I think we'd be more like to see like new styles of fighting games rather than a variation on the 2D, 3D fighter.
Yeah, I can't see anyone playing Street Fighter, a 2D game in a 3D apparatus format. I can't stretch my mind around anything like that right now.
Everything associated with VR puts it in a first-person perspective.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, and I'm sure there is somebody out there who is. I am more sure that I'm wrong in what I'm about to say than I am right in what
Well, put it out there.
Well, that's
it's
never
just-
stopped us before. Go ahead and say
I
it.
know, especially me, because I've said some stupid stuff. Star Wars Connect, but I don't know that there exists any kind of VR game out there that isn't in that first-person perspective. I want to say that there is I want to say there's a game that you can switch from third person to first person, but that's in the original game itself.
Right.
And it just kind of ported over whenever they made it for the Rift or VR or whatever. So
Well, yeah, I mean, if you get out first person, then what's the point of having VR aside from having a monitor sitting in front of your eyes?
I know, it's interesting. It's one of those strange things that I can't think of, but somebody's trying to, I'm sure. Somebody is out there trying to think of a way that they can use VR in different ways, where it's not locked into first person, in a first person perspective, and find some kind of ingenious way that comes across. It's happened plenty of times before where I've seen somebody's taken something and said, you know what, I never thought, I always wondered how we were going to play in this type of perspective or this type of way. They've taken a gameplay mechanic or something else that I didn't think was natural, but they made it natural. There's a lot smarter people out there working on these things than I am. So I would love to think that, they can break free from that first person perspective, but you're right, fighting game, I don't know.
Yeah, but
Fighting game seems to mean that you've got to have motion controls for head bobbing and blocking and
motion
that sort of
controls
thing.
blocking. I mean, they could probably do some nice feedback things. You can, hit the face and get that vibration going or something, or an image on the screen that'll let you know you're in trouble. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, if you spend some time thinking about it, probably come up with some more ways. But gut reaction right now, I really can't wrap my head around a way that it would VR would influence the 2D, especially the 2D fighting realm.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about, and it's.
Yeah.
I mean, VR is getting big, man.
Yeah,
VR
it
is getting huge, and especially the stuff that came out with Steam Dev Days and their
the Steam VR, and
their
everything.
embracement of that type of gaming, the VR gaming and stuff like that. Rift or no Rift, it doesn't really matter. But even though those guys are doing a great thing with the Oculus as well, it just seems that VR is becoming a pretty big deal. So
Yeah.
I remember asking this in Twitter a couple of weeks ago. Is VR becoming the new motion control? You know, late in the lifespan of the last gen, it was like motion control. Let's put it. Let's have the PlayStation Move. Let's develop the Kinect. The Wii's already doing it. Let's do our thing. And then there it is. And we've got it now. And it seems that it's now VR. And I didn't want to equate the sense of how ridiculous motion controls are.
Yeah.
To me, I didn't want to equate that VR was just as ridiculous as motion control, just in the sense that here's this new thing, let's jump on it and make it something for our system. You know, let's incorporate it into as much as we can.
Yeah, well, Sony and Microsoft haven't moved on that, and Nintendo, you know, it's still up in the air right
No,
now.
Sony's had more talk about it. Because
yeah.
I think they're working on their own VR headset stuff, from what I've read.
Okay.
This was a subject we didn't plan to go into, so I'm just throwing things out there, but stick or not. But yeah, so yeah, I didn't mean that that VR is less or on par with what the motion controls are. I hate motion controls. I don't like them, but I've tried VR and I like it. I really do. I can't do much of it. After a while, it really bothers me, but I still love to jump back into it. It's still when you put on that headset and have that freedom to look up. I mean, you can do this in games as it is, but it's different when your head makes it happen.
It's still, I guess, a novelty for you right now.
Well, I suppose maybe it's different when you have this thing on your head that it's blocked out. You cannot see everything. You cannot see anything else in the room that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
You can only see the game environment. That's it, because that's the way this thing works. That's all. Now, it's one thing to look at your monitor and have the guy look up, look around, do all this stuff. It's one thing to do that. It's even one thing to wear those little. James had it for his flight VR or something. I can't remember what it's called, but you put these little reflectors on.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I can't remember what it was called. And you look around and it looks like that in game. It's a completely different thing to just have the screen you're looking at and then moving the environment within that screen. Completely different. Once it is on your head, once your head makes that happen, once you can look in all manner of directions by moving your head around in all manner of directions.
Yeah, you have no sensory input from anywhere else. Just
That's
from
it.
This.
That's it. It's an amazing immersion. In some instances, I mean, again, the stuff doesn't look very good.
I mean, it's all just experimental.
It's all very experimental. It doesn't look very good, but still, there is this is really cool sense when you put it on of like, oh wow, this is great. Your head starts going into these places of like, what else can they do? Where else can they put me? You know, how much better is this going to get? And so I don't know. I enjoyed it. I think for the aspect of what it is and what could happen with it, what probably will happen with it. And I always love to hear that. Hey, here's a new game coming out. Sports Oculus Rift. You know, that thing that's on Kickstarter now. I backed it before it got its funding. Didn't take long. Kingdom Come.
Kingdom Come. Yeah.
Yeah, Kingdom Come. In talks with them for them to be on the show as well.
Oh, nice.
Warhorse is the developer on that. And they announced that, yeah, we'll have Oculus Rift support for this game. Will I use it? I don't care. It's nice to know that it's there because we've got a Rift. But yeah, so it's always good to hear that whole thing is getting supported. So anyway, moving on into the story that we were going to cover is the situation with YouTube, Machinima, Xbox One, money.
Money. Business as usual. More business as usual.
Yeah, so the situation on that is someone broke it. Someone broke the story that it actually was leaking. That there was a
new promotion.
Yeah,
It
I'm
was-
trying to think of what it was called, and I'm like, it's a promotion, really, but it was a promotion with Microsoft, Machinima, and then the Machinima partners. I
Yes,
believe.
and it was basically a deal where they would talk about the Xbox One, talk about Xbox One content, and you would get paid a certain amount based on how many thousands of likes you got on YouTube.
Right.
But one of the big things in the agreement these people were signing with Machinima and Microsoft was you cannot say anything bad about the Xbox One in order to get in a part of this deal. Which
Nothing negative. It could be positive or neutral.
yes, and you could not reveal your affiliation. You could not reveal your agreement with Machinima and Microsoft.
That was the thing. You could not. And I'm gonna go and try and find the exact quote.
But yeah, it was like you.
Here, according to a leaked copy of I'm getting this from Ars Technica, leaked copy of the full legal agreement behind the promotion, video creators may not say anything negative or disparaging about Machinima, Xbox One, or any of its games. That was a full quote. Not in quotes here. They must keep the details of the promotional agreement confidential in order to qualify for payment. In other words, to get the money, video makers have to speak positively or at least neutral about the Xbox One, but they cannot say that they're being paid to do that.
I don't have much of a problem with the former because, well,
No, it's that last line
it's
I
that
have an
last
issue
line.
with.
It's the last line where no, you can't reveal this. You can't talk about the fact that we are paying you to say these good or neutral things.
Yeah, that was that's the issue that's the problem that I think a lot of people took issue with. Some people got confused and
And
thinking,
I was like,
this is normal, isn't it? People pay for advertising all the time. They do.
yeah, but and in particular, EA came out because when this broke out, people were like, yeah, EA's like, yeah, we did this for you, but they don't.
EA did it too. However, and I've got theirs pulled up as well. Their idea was the program that EA has requires that participants comply with FTC guidelines and identify when content is sponsored. User-generated videos are a valuable and unique aspect of how gamers share their experience playing the games they love and one that EA supports. We explicitly state in the terms and conditions of the program that each video must comply with the FTC's guidelines concerning use of testimonials and endorsements in advertising. So, keyword there is guidelines.
Yeah, and that's something we should point out is that the FTC guidelines, and the FTC has come out and said this, is they're not enforceable by law. It is literally a set of guidelines to follow.
Right. Guidelines is the issue on this. It's guidelines. It's not rules. It's guidelines. It's like, here's some soft rules.
Yeah.
These aren't in any way.
We would like you to act this way, but we really can't do anything to enforce that at all.
Yeah.
So it's just a suggestion.
It is, basically. It's
Yeah.
not any there's about the only way it can come under harm is if there is a huge negative impact on like a person's life.
Yeah. It's
Hey, this knife is so safe you can put it up to your throat, and then people start cutting whatever. It's one of those things where it's really got to be an issue, and unfortunately, the situation with Microsoft, Machinima, and YouTube, that's not it. That's not one of these things. However, that doesn't matter in most cases. It shouldn't matter in most cases. I know big business doesn't care, but it should be in the sense that you're garnering a lot of false.
yeah. When this
Trust.
gets out, which it has now, it's
Yeah.
like, how is that going to reflect on you when you were putting out agreements saying, yeah, please keep this secret. Please don't tell anybody about this because, we want this seemed like a legitimate review from somebody who's not affiliated with us.
Right.
It's like, why do you need that? Why do you want that? It's because everybody was, a couple months back, everybody was just unloading on you over all your reversals of the Xbox One.
Yeah, there is that aspect to look at it. In fact, one of the YouTubers, Boogie2988, he did a video about this saying that it's normal. This is the norm. This happens all the time. His confusion in there, I think, is the fact that yes.
Yeah, I don't.
Being approached about a promotion, saying, "Hey, we're going to pay you for this, and we want you to talk about whatever." I understand that's probably a normal thing. I'm in radio. Yes, that's a normal thing. Guess what? People pay us to do endorsements. Some of the jocks here talk about stuff that they use, and they talk about a client, and that's great, and that's wonderful. But it's also understood that this is a paid promotional advertisement.
Yeah, whenever you hear the commercials in between this show, when we're broadcasting live from the radio station,
We're talking about sponsors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's kind of expected. Yeah.
Actually, In-Game Chat does not have any sponsors. If you want to sponsor us, we'd love it. But we don't have any sponsors. We don't have any of these companies to uphold to. We do not get paid for this, by the way.
No, when
Dennis doesn't work here. RJ didn't work here. I actually work here, but I don't get paid for this particular part of what I do. I'm here Monday through Friday, and then we get the time here to put something original on the station and local on the station.
Yeah, in exchange for using their equipment and such, we run commercials during our show.
Well, yeah, they've got commercials they run, that sort of thing.
That's just part of the deal.
It's all on their side of things, but we don't get paid for this. There is no money that comes into In-Game Chat. There isn't. That sucks. We would love to change that, and maybe we will at some point. But anyway, going back to this is that if we were to get paid, you'd know about it. You'd have to. It would either be blatantly obvious, or we would have something that, hey, this portion of the show is brought to you by our friends at Bob Titanfall.
Bob Titanfall's Lawn Service.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever the case, you would hear that. And so the part of this contract that they had, that the YouTubers had, was not to mention that they were getting paid to say neutral or positive things about the Xbox One. And that's the part that everybody had a problem with. And that's the part that I think Boogie2988 had confusion over.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has an issue with people getting paid.
Right, when that story came out that Conan O'Brien gets paid to do the Clueless Gamer segment. That's a duh statement I've ever heard, man. That's completely understood.
Like that's not surprising, because
I understand that.
They're
I knew it was happening a couple episodes into him doing that, because all they ever showed were Xbox boxes.
Well, I mean, it's a guy who's got over 15 years of doing a talk show. I'm pretty sure you could come up with other bits aside from reviewing video games. So the fact that he's, they're getting paid to, like, here's this video game here. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's promotion. It's putting a short little ad, watching, Conan stumble through whatever game is in front of him.
Yeah. Calgar99 says, from a company's point of view, would you not take this approach to? Why would you not take this approach to promote your product? No, that's fine. You can take this approach. It's just that one little part where it's like you can't mention that you're getting paid to say these things.
I mean, I guess it's fine if you never get caught, but
well, again, it's not against the rules. It's not against the law. It's just you're suddenly put in the court of public opinion whenever this comes out, because while I've heard people say, "Well, it doesn't matter to me. I don't care." There's never been anybody saying this is a good thing.
Yeah,
it's all been this is really bad. This is sneaky and underhanded, and I don't like the taste of this.
You kept quiet about this. What else are you keeping quiet about? What other surprises are waiting for me in this little deal you have going on? I mean, it is, man, business.
It is. Yeah. It's business, but it's not. It's got. I have personally. I have some issues with it.
It's got a lot of stink on it.
I think it does. I think it does. Personally, for me, I have a lot of problems with it, just for the fact that, as long as you can tell me that you're either getting paid for this, when you do a review of a game. When people do a written review of the game, or when people do a YouTube review of the game, I know on the written reviews on a lot of sites it says this copy was provided by the publisher.
Yeah.
This review was based on a 360 version retail or debug unit on whatever. There's a lot of stuff that goes into what they're doing. And how they disclose the information with which they reviewed the game. Were they given a copy? Did they have to buy a copy? And we have told you that on this show whenever we have been provided copies of games. We've not signed any agreement that we have to talk about them, but when somebody takes the time to provide us a copy of their game, we will play it and we will talk about it, good or bad, really. And so whenever that happens, and God, we really encourage people to do that. Please give us your games. We'll talk about them.
Hey, you know, we had recently with the Cast of Walking Dead when we had them on. It was through a company that does microphones, correct?
It was.
And
Sennheiser.
we made that very clear when we were talking. It was like,
in fact, you did, because I could not find a way. Okay.
Yeah, we couldn't come up with a good segue for it.
I really couldn't. I couldn't find a good segue as to when we had Dave Fennoy and Sissy Jones from The Walking Dead video game. When we had them on the program, that was set up through a company called Sennheiser, who makes microphones, a lot of audio products. And the caveat of having them on was that they were going to talk about Sennheiser products and how it makes their voices sound great. And can you somehow put this in the conversation when you're talking to them? I said, and I flat out told them, I was like, I really want to have them on our show. I just don't know how we can go from talking about this and then jumping into the Sennheiser product. If you can kind of give me some information on ways that can be done, we'll do it. And if not, I can understand if you don't want to do this. And they said, no, we'll do it. It's fine. And I said, okay. So we do the interview. You can go back and listen to this. I don't remember the episode we did this.
I don't remember.
I want to say it was
exactly
it was in September.
Yeah, it was the tail end of season 7. So.
Yeah, and so we had this whole conversation through with Dave and Sissy, and then towards the end of it, I said, "Okay, I have to do this because this was based on the reason we got you on the show. So let me go ahead and ask you about Sennheiser." And I made it very clear. Again, we didn't get paid.
No, we didn't get paid. It was literally just to.
It was
you
can do this, but you have to talk about this. And so that was the case. Did that sell any Sennheiser microphones? I have no idea.
Who knows? And we don't see a dime out of it, which is fine. We got to talk to these
We got
guys.
nothing. Yeah. So, and you're right. Nate T92 says it all comes down to money. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it all comes down to money, for good or for bad. And it's not illegal. It is of your own opinion if this is underhanded to you. Personally, for me, I think it's a little skeevy.
Yeah, it's a very blatant attempt to try to manipulate public opinion. That is what it is.
They had contracts that they showed. This was all everything I've read about this outside of the articles you posted in our show outline has come from the threads on NeoGAF.
Yeah.
That have been talking about this, and it's amazing what those guys will find and put up on there, because they found contracts, same contracts from E3 and from PAX, and then something else, and I can't remember what it was, but E3 and PAX specifically, saying, hey, we want you to post videos about E3. We want you to post videos about PAX. I don't think there was anything in there saying you must speak neutral or positive. No. It was. You must speak neutral or positive about these things. For every so many views, you're going to get this much money. And these were all outlined in the terms and conditions of this contract that they had with their partners. Except the difference is there was one thing that had to be done on your video. It had to state that you were getting compensated for this video from whoever for this video is a paid thing from so and so. And that was on the E3 contract. That was on the PAX contract. The Microsoft Xbox One contract specifically said you cannot mention that you are getting paid to say this. Can't have it anywhere in the video. Otherwise, you will not get your money. Also, you are not allowed to reveal these terms and conditions to anyone.
Yeah, again,
and that's how it got out, was because somebody said, let's reveal this. And they posted the contract online for everyone to see.
It's like they think there's no whistleblowers whatsoever. But
generally, it just feels like if you're we know that this is an advertisement. It's just press for your product. But if you're upfront about it, there's not going to be an issue with it. But this just screams, underhanded, dirty, like you said. You're hiding something.
Yeah, we wanted this to seem like a a legitimate, well, not legitimate. We wanted to seem like a review from like somebody who isn't being paid by Microsoft.
No, yeah.
But
This is a purely honest opinion that is not affected in any way by any of us here at Microsoft or Machinima. Who's the other part of this, YouTube or anybody like that? No, this is completely honest. This is their opinion. No influence by us at all. Now that this is exposed, now this and everything you do from now on is going to be under some heavy scrutiny.
I want to clear some stuff up, and again, we've got to go to a break here. But when we come back, we're going to talk more about this because there's a ton of comments in the chat room that we haven't gotten to. G Neptune, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, who's also somebody I haven't seen in the chat room before, says the contract was between Machinima and their partners. Microsoft's name was not in the contract.
Yeah, but if it's talking about the Xbox, they're going to be, in public opinion, they're going to be pulled in anyway.
That may have been the case that Microsoft's name wasn't in the contract, but
Yeah.
but as far as I know, Microsoft and Machinima, this all went.
and I know they've both jointly released a statement.
They've
regarding
released a
it.
statement about it, and Microsoft said that I don't have word for word on this, but they do say that this was something that they were involved with. I can tell you now, if it's a promotion about a company, that doesn't just happen between two other people not involved with that
Yeah,
company.
you can't
Right.
tell me that Microsoft didn't know anything about this just because their name was on contract. Maybe
No.
but I don't.
I'll tell you that now.
I don't feel
No.
that. I don't feel
Not a
that at all.
company like that. They do not have. You want to talk about room full of lawyers who go over things like this? That's your guys. And seriously, if they looked over this, they looked at it and said, "We're in the legal rights to do this because FTC guidelines aren't enforced; they're guidelines, and so we can do this." Again, that puts you in the court of public opinion, though.
Yeah.
So there you go. But anyway, we're going to get back to this. We got to take a break. When we come back, more of In-Game Chat. And if you'd like to throw in your opinion on this situation, give us a call. 334-272-9228. It's 334-272-9228. More with In-Game Chat coming up next. Here is music from N+. And welcome back to In-Game Chat. Music from...
Mega Man.
No. That is a Aegis Wing,
Aegis Wing?
I believe. Is that
Okay.
pronounced? Aegis Wing?
Yeah.
That's what that is? Yeah. Fun game on the 360. Really fun game. 4-player co-op. I think it was free to play.
Yeah, it was like free with like just getting a 360. It's like, here, download this.
Oh
game.
man, but really fun game. So if you still got a 360, that's a good one. If it's still on the if it's still in the store, I do not know. But anyway, welcome back to the show. We're in the middle of talking about sponsors and getting paid, advertisements and things like that.
More business.
I know. So I'm going to read from the chat room. I'm looking at this on my MacBook Pro. It's a 2009 model. Really nice.
Make out the check to
Okay.
in-game chat.
Yep.
Yeah.
These are Electro Voice microphones.
You're welcome, Apple.
On our Sansui television set.
Being broadcast by Google Chromecast.
Yeah, really. If you'd like to get in touch with us and give your opinion on this whole thing, you can give us a call, 334-272-9228. I'm going to try to read from the chat room. You guys were making some great comments. And this is one of the reasons I like phones, because in talking about these things, I can't keep up with the chat room, with all the comments. The chat room, by the way, is at twitch.tv. Just go there, find In-Game Chat, and you'll see our lovely faces on the screen. And join us in the chat room. We've had some new people show up. Escape is in there. Also, Who else did we have? Somebody else.
G Neptune.
G Neptune. Quiet Hype 2 is also in the chat room there with us now also. So welcome everybody. Thanks for showing up and talking about this. So let me go back and see. Calgar 99 is also in there. Ghost Bear is also in the chat room as well. Talking about from a company's point of view, why would you not take this approach? Escape says, not letting people know you are an ad and being paid from what I can tell on the cutoff of that, it looks like it says equals evil. Zufu says, in-game chat sponsored by Abstergo Industries and Aperture Laboratories. That'd be great. Motel says, if we get sponsored, he wants prizes for the listeners like free bags. Free bags of something. He says them. I don't know what that means. Oh, if I'm the next Doritos Pope, free bags of Doritos.
Sure.
If I don't hoard all, I keep the Cool Ranch. You guys can have the others.
As long as I get like those like cheeseburger Doritos they had a couple of years ago.
I like Escape's comment. He says the list of 78 YouTubers that signed up for the program are getting hate mail, tons.
Well, I don't know, man. I don't necessarily know that I would give hate mail just as much as I would just say, look, I'm not going to trust anything you do anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's the YouTubers aren't necessarily the problem, the heart of the problem at this. I understand people being like, oh, well, you're kind of deceptive at this or something like that. I don't know. Depends on
You said
content.
they're not at the heart of the problem.
No.
No, I don't think that they are. I think they are...
They're ancillary to what's going on. They were just the vehicle this came. That
but they had to accept. They had to accept that though.
Accept
yeah,
the deal,
but they had
accept
to
the deal and
accept
put
the
it out.
contract. They, for good or ill, they're tied to this, regardless.
And from what I understand, and from what I read, this promotion was one of the biggest as far as monetary output, as far as what you could get. Normally, it's $1.
Mm-hmm.
This was $3.
$3 for every 1,000 likes, I believe.
Something like that. I don't know about likes. I think views.
Is it views? Okay.
Some because it's YouTube, but yeah. And maybe it is likes or something like that. I'm not exactly sure on that, but it was $3. One of the biggest that has ever been done. And so I can see people looking at this, and man, I'm on the outside of this.
Yeah.
I'm on the outside looking in, so I can't. If somebody approached us and said, "Hey, we want to do this," I'd like to say, see, we do things as a group here.
Yeah.
We are not one individual. This show is not just me. This show is not just RJ or James or Dennis. It is a group. We are in-game chat. It is we.
Yes.
When we talk about things, I always say us. I always say we, unless, of course, it's on a personal basis of, here's my thoughts on this game. None of us make decisions as an individual. Sometimes I make a decision as an individual only for the fact that it's radio related and it's job related and that sort of thing.
Yeah, you're the guy who knows all about it.
But I don't make any kind of decision that isn't about the show. When we got a business license, consulted, we did everything, and we got a business license.
Yeah,
you all owe me some money for that, but we got a business license. When we go to E3 or when we go to PAX, everybody's here and is invited to go. It's just being able to afford to go is the issue.
Yeah.
But none of these decisions are made individually here. So if we were approached by anyone that said, "Hey, we want you to here's the contract we want you to sign," it isn't signed by me. It's signed by all of us after we look over this. And I can tell you that if anything like this ever came across our desk, saying we're going to pay you, let's just be ridiculous, we're going to pay you $15,000, and we want you to do an hour's worth of the show on our game. You can't say anything negative about it, but you also can't say that you're being paid for this. None of us would sign that. None of us would allow either of us to sign that. We wouldn't do it. We wouldn't. This is just a hypothetical situation that I wish was real.
Yeah.
But it's just a hypothetical
We'd
situation.
like to get high dollar amount deals.
So,
but we don't.
But this would not happen. So when you say that the YouTubers are ancillary to this, I mean, they agreed to do this.
They did agree to it. And Zufu brought up, they probably didn't even read the fine print. Can they claim ignorance on this? No, because if they signed the deal,
there is no fine print on this. There were, and I wish we had the contract that I could post in the chat room. If you can find that contract, I would love to post that in the chat room, because it says, here's the outlines of the promotion. Here's what is required of you in order to get your money. Step 1, ever how many minutes of Xbox One footage or talk of game, whatever. Step 2, nothing negative, always positive or neutral about the game. Step 3, must have so many likes. Step 4, you cannot mention that you're being paid for these comments. I mean, it's right there. It's in the steps of the promotion,
Right.
of what qualifies for you to get this money.
Yeah.
There is no...
I mean, understand this thing before you put your name on it. I mean, in the end, that's all it is.
Yeah.
But
Now here's an interesting thing that I just thought of, is that the YouTube video that Boogie2988 said is that this is the normal. It happens all the time. This contracts all the time come across saying, hey, we want you to do this, and this.
Right.
Up until now, they've all said you must put in your video that this is a paid promotional
be
thing.
upfront about it.
This was the first one that didn't. I can easily see somebody seeing this and saying, oh, wow, $3. Yeah, let me sign. Okay, now let me go back and look at this. Oh.
Oops.
All right. Still doesn't really hold you as an excuse
No.
for doing that. I was going to go back over some of these things that we were getting in the chat room. Let's see. The list of, like you said, they're getting hate mail. It all comes down to money. It's okay to get paid to stream Hearthstone. Just let your viewers know you are being paid. Ad or promotion is okay. Calgar99 says, personally, I'm not a fan. I don't look to YouTube for an individual's take of a video game. However, if it's relating to something else like headphones or a type of TV, I'm easily influenced. Well, these are Audio-Technica headphones that I've got. Dude, I bought these cheap, man. These things are normal. These things are really expensive, but Black Friday, they were cheap. So I picked them up. But nobody gave them to me, and so how do they sound? Headphones. Yay, I needed a new pair. If I could show you my old pair of headphones, you'd be surprised that I went that long without getting them. What?
Oh, it's okay. I got the full text here, thanks to Medusa Mirror. In the chat.
Thank you for that.
Okay, yeah, I'm way up in the list of the chat. Holy cow, you guys are talking a lot.
Yeah. It's pretty much exactly what we've been seeing everywhere. It's spelled out clear as day. You may not say anything negative or disparaging about Machinima, Xbox One, or any of its games in your campaign video. And I've been seeing on a couple of sites. I haven't been able to find the official Microsoft statement. I found quotes and such, but basically Microsoft saying they weren't aware of they're saying Machinima added in the additional clauses for this campaign. I'm trying to find
Sounds like finger pointing.
Yeah, it's just hearsay at the moment because I can't find the official Microsoft source on this yet, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, Green. I want to call him Green Neptune. No, it's G Neptune. They do not want you to reveal the terms, so the next YouTuber will not know the amount of money you are making. It's an interesting thing.
You can't reveal any of the terms just because of the dollar amount. Imagine you just don't reveal the dollar amount you're getting paid. That's a pretty common thing in any business, not just in ads, is don't reveal what we're paying you.
Yeah. Got a lot of people in the chat room I haven't seen names before. Kind of want to say hey to those guys. Noob Sauce 87. Hey, what's up? Escape says, not all YouTubers knew the contract was written the way that it was. They just saw extra money and thought all they had to do was put the tag in the title. But the issue was that the tag was used to replace disclosure, and that is a big problem. I believe it is. I mean, I if I'm correct, I think Escape and at least myself are on the same page of thinking this is a bad thing. This is not, there's nothing good about this. It's all very underhanded and kind of shady.
Okay.
So.
Here's the quote from the Microsoft, the latest one. Microsoft was not aware of individual contracts Machinima had with their content providers as part of this promotion, and we didn't provide feedback on any of the videos. We have asked Machinima to not post any additional Xbox One content as part of this media buy, and we've asked them to add disclaimers to the videos that were part of this program indicating they were part of paid advertising.
Well, like we said earlier, we can't see Microsoft letting just two folks do it, just say, God, do what you like.
Yeah.
And let them put their name to it.
Yeah, we're going to go to the phones. We've got, in fact, let me get out the number again, 334-272-9228. This is Mike. We got another Texan on the line. It's Mike from Austin. Hey, Mike.
Hey, how are y'all doing?
Doing great, man. You
Good.
now, when I answered the phone, he wondered if he was on the air, but you are now on the air, so let me just be clear on that. So did you want to chime in on this YouTube situation?
I'm not too familiar with the YouTube stuff, but I wanted to ask you guys if you had any sense of how many other companies are doing this sort of pay for social media attention thing, because it seemed like a lot of League of Legends streamers picked up Hearthstone. So there was the suspicion that Blizzard was paying people, popular streamers, to play that on their streams, to the point where Riot just recently tried to shove down all of the people that they pay's throats, that they couldn't stream a whole long laundry list of games, including like Dota, Hearthstone, and other stuff. Is it a big thing that you know about, or is this the first that a lot of people are hearing of it?
Yeah, this is kind of the first we're hearing about this.
Well, somebody brought it up in the chat room.
Yeah, that's right. Somebody did mention Hearthstone.
Atapa Char, if I'm saying that correctly. He says, "Oh, I just remembered. I wonder how much money Blizzard was throwing around to get people to stream Hearthstone." Escape says it's okay to get paid to stream Hearthstone. You just have to let your viewers know you are being paid. Ad or promotion is okay. And then Atapachar, I really hope I'm saying that right. No one I saw streaming Hearthstone disclosed payment. Surely somebody was getting paid. This is the first I've heard about that situation, and I didn't even know about that. That's a good point, though, is that League of Legends is just big in the streaming world.
Yes, it is.
That and Warcraft, though.
Mm-hmm.
I believe. Unless Path of Exile, I think, is also up there.
Yeah, I mean, I could totally believe that a bunch of people play LoL may have just decided, hey, Hearthstone just went open beta and just got into it. But I don't know. It could just easily be that, Blizzard is handing out a couple of, not money hats, maybe like those little money footballs you used to fold together in high school.
Well, I mean, I don't know. And you bring up a specific point, but one of what you had previously said is like other companies that do this. A lot of people pointed to Sony and says, hey, Sony does this too. A lot of people pointed to EA and said EA does this too. Although, again, EA came forth and said, no. We tell the people who do ours to follow FTC guidelines. And the guidelines specifically state that you need to disclose when you're getting paid for a promotion, for an advertisement. Mm-hmm. When you're getting paid to say good things or to even talk about a product, good or bad. If you're getting paid to do it, you should disclose that. That's the FTC guidelines. The situation with Sony, I haven't really seen that happen with Sony except for, I think, years ago when they tried to promote the PSP. They created something about, all I want for Christmas is a PSP. They created a viral blog type thing.
Okay.
It was this guy trying to get a PSP for Christmas. Turns out when people started doing some digging that it was all Sony made the entire thing.
Yeah, it was just Sony marketing.
It was Sony marketing campaign. They got a lot of backlash. They got a lot of flack for it. But that was not on the, I don't think that was on the level that we're getting here, which is, basically you go to YouTube people who kind of seem like regular Joes talking about games, but trying to be positive about it and then getting paid to do it. So other companies, I'm not sure. This is the first time I've heard it where it's like, hey, you can't talk about it. It's the first time I've heard that where it's like you cannot talk about the fact that you're getting paid. There can be nothing on there saying this is a paid promotional advertisement or this footage is brought to you by or anything like that. That's the first time I've heard of that, personally for myself. And we could have a lot of people in the chat room who say otherwise, and that could be the case. But no, this is the first I've heard about the Hearthstone thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that, I obviously can't say for sure, but while celebrities, people involved with Good Game Chronicle and the Korean scene, Monte Cristo, Chobra, and Dilla, they never stream, and if they do, they're just talking about things rather than playing. All of a sudden, they're putting in heavy hours playing Hearthstone. So, feeling pretty confident. Thanks for taking my call, guys.
Hey, thanks for calling in.
Yeah,
We appreciate
thanks for calling.
it.
Thank you.
So Texas is being represented on the show today. Thanks for calling in. If you, we've only got about 5 minutes left. I mean, if you want to call in, you can to 334-272-9228. Go into the chat room again. Calgar99 says it is inevitable that the big companies will take advantage of social media to push their content as much as possible. There are millions of dollars that are in play there. G Neptune says if you're a YouTuber and already have a built-in audience, they most likely do not care that you are getting paid. They will continue to watch your video. Possibly.
But again, that goes back to the entire thing. If they know it's, thing you're getting paid for, yeah, I'm sure they'll be fine. If it's like, hey, I'm getting paid by company X to talk about this. Again, when it's hidden like this and comes out in the open, it's like,
I don't know how long people will remember this. I mean, our collective memories are usually short ones.
Yeah, by next week we could be like, what about Microsoft and Machinima? What was that?
I know, it could be a thing. It's just, we've said this before.
Wasn't there a thing about Content ID a couple months ago? Something like that?
Oh, yeah, for YouTube? Yeah, there was. We've said it before that judgments of things should really come on your own. Don't put faith in really anybody else's opinion. If you're curious about what we think about games, we'll tell you, and that's great. But you've got to use that information to really make your own decision.
Yeah, get a diversity of opinions. If you're taking it just from one source, it's a really bad idea.
It is. It really is. And this is one of the reasons that I'm glad when more of us can make it to the show, because RJ, you bring in the sports and the fighting game aspects, two game genres, and some of the other game genres that we just don't touch over here.
Yeah.
Dennis, you're the same way.
Yeah.
You tap into genres that or games that we just don't, that James and I just don't normally play. James is big on the MMO side of things. That's not me. I'm into the racing, the pinball, and some of the adventure titles. That's me. And so we try to get enough diversity here that we can cover all aspects. However, none of us talk about Nintendo very much. But you're the only one, I think, on the show.
With the Wii U and the 3DS, but
I have a 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
I wish there was stuff to talk about on it. I really do, but put out Zombie U2 and I'll be happy. It's never going to happen.
Escape says if Sony does this type of shady crap, expose it to. It's all anti-consumer. It's just what we talked about. As far as I know, Sony doesn't. We don't know, but that's, all we've got there. Zufu says, I wonder how many Xbox apologists were paid to defend it after the E3 debacle. Maybe something about that will come out as well. I am curious myself. There were plenty of people before the flip that said, hey, this DRM thing with Xbox is good.
This is the best thing ever.
This is great.
Revolutionize. Why are people complaining about this? This is the best thing ever.
They had the thumbs up, just like Scotty is.
I know, whatever. It was like, hey, this is a good thing. And then, man, really take a step back and look at who, try and look at seriously, I hate to be cynical, but look at everything as though it's being paid for.
Yeah.
I hate to say that. That's horrible to say. But it's almost...
Just look at it and say, who would be... If somebody was going to secretly pay for this, who's doing it?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Always side on pessimism. That's what we're saying here.
Ghost Bear wants me to tell him what to think. I don't know what to think.
We can't say that on the radio, man. There's laws against that.
Oh man, there's no such thing as an objective review, says Lavos. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, there's always bias.
Yeah.
Nate says I used to be a people person, then people got involved. That's a good point.
That's quotable.
Oh, anyway. Oh, goodness. Yeah, Stufu Ben Kachera was always suspect regarding his Xbox One statements, among other things. That's exactly who I was referencing, was that situation. He said that Xbox DRM is good for you, and here's why. And, boy, that thing exists now. You can't get that. He cannot take that back.
Yeah, no, it's always there. Here's what Ben Kachera says about Xbox One.
So... anyway, we got to go. That's it for us. I appreciate, everybody in the chat room. I really hope you guys are here next week for our 300th episode.
Number 300.
We have nothing planned, but I hope you're here for it. Maybe I can throw something together in a week. Who knows? But I want to thank everybody for joining us in the chat room, as well as everybody listening on the stream, on the radio, wherever you happen to get our show. We really appreciate it. So thank you for listening. And thanks everybody who's grabbed our show from iTunes, however you get it. Thanks for doing it. Go to ingamechat.net. You can join us on Twitter, Facebook, our forums at colonyofgamers.com. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel where this episode will be up on Tuesday. And if you're on Steam, we've got a Steam group you can join up with over there and play games with us and other listeners. Please join us over there. We'll give away games if somebody gives us games to give away. Anybody out there wants to give us some games?
Just a couple of codes.
Yeah.
I'm really neutral about the Xbox One.
Anyway, we're going to go home and enjoy our Maxwell House coffee. And I'm going to play on my... Oh, man, I can't really say a PC because there's so many different parts.
Play your 3DS.
I'll play my Xbox One, actually, because remember the call we got earlier? I hadn't played anything.
Yeah.
I think I'll
Get some
give that
Dead
a
Rising
go.
3 in.
So, anyway, that's it for us. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you next Saturday.